Hey everyone, it's Fox from Inferno Fox Gaming. So it's been a hot minute or so since I've done a pickups video, and I come to you not with 1, but 2 months worth of pickups. And it's been quite a fruitful time, and I hope that you're going to enjoy seeing what I've picked up. A lot of Nintendo Switch and a couple little surprises beyond. So if you like what you see, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications. So we're going to go over August's haul first. And I'm going to start off with the Wild Guns Reloaded. And this is actually like a remaster of a 1994 Super Nintendo game that I actually, surprisingly, had never played, but I heard that it reviewed pretty well. So I'm really excited to check this one out, and pretty cool to be able to have a physical copy of this. Next up is Untitled Goose Game, and this was a super quick experience. I probably, from start to finish, maybe about 2 or 3 hours or so, but I'll tell you, this was 2 to 3 hours of pure unadulterated joy, playing as this little goose guy here, causing a whole bunch of fun and mischief and messing with the people. And the fantastic piano soundtrack was a lot of fun, and this is another one I'm really glad to have physical copies of. And that's the beauty of getting physical copies, of course, is I've always got them. Next is the Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus, and this is by Nihon Falcom and published by Access Games. Nihon Falcom really is renowned for their Ys series and Legend of Heroes or Kisekis, and it is an action RPG, much like the Ys series, but it looks to differentiate a bit from that. So seeing the pre-orders for this, I'm like, oh, I gotta at least pick this up, because I'm pretty sure this will be a rare title to own after the fact. But I really like the quality and the blending of the anime aesthetics with some really good storytelling with Ys and Kiseki, and I'm hoping that this is going to be more of the same, and I'm really excited to check this one out. Next up is our buddy Dave the Diver. This not indie really kind of caught my eye when I saw it, and it's apparently it's a blend of sort of diving into the deep and picking up fish and everything like that on like a first half of the day, and the second half is owning and managing like a sushi restaurant and taking care of customers and whatnot. So that sort of change of gameplay I've really gotten into with games like ActRaiser, where it's half action and half simulation. So the idea that obviously this is going to be plot-wise nothing like ActRaiser, but being able to marry two different genres in the same game and really keeping them separate enough to where they are their own thing, kind of a cool concept. So I'm excited to check this one out. We also have Pentiment. And I was really glad to pick this physical copy up, and especially having a physical of a Microsoft game on the Nintendo Switch. But, you know, this is all part of the games that Microsoft is releasing and going third party with a number of their entries. And the overall aesthetics on this are really cool looking, where it's like that kind of classic medieval looking art and style. It's like an adventure RPG game. I believe I've read that this is. I keep hearing this is the best game that you're not playing, and I of course I haven't played it, but now I will be able to have the chance to. So this will be a cool one to be able to play and check out. And finally, we have Cadence of Hyrule. I am so happy to be able to own this, so having this be my last August pickup, I was really thrilled to be able to have this. Thank you VGP.ca for having a whole bunch of prints and reprints available. And this is essentially the Crypt of the Necrodancer, but married with the Legend of Zelda style. And this is where you get to play either as Link or Zelda, of course, before Echoes of Wisdom. And yeah, I know that CDI game is the predecessor to them all, where you could play as Zelda, but still, it's a really cool thing. I like Zelda games a ton. I like the sort of rhythm music-based games, so this would be a really cool sort of amalgamation. I played the 1 week free demo, I think it was, that the NSO had, and I was really enjoyed it, but then I kind of stopped playing it because I'm like, okay, if I keep playing this, I'm going to want to buy it, and I want a physical copy. now I got it. And man, August was a great month for pickups. But I don't know. You guys will have to let me know in the comment section below if September is going to beat August, because September will beat August by sheer volume of games. And I went a little bit nuts here. Those VGP.ca sales, they got me. They got me good. And the first September pickup that I'm going to show y'all is Castlevania Lords of Shadow for the PS3. I have not picked up a new PS3 game in at least 10 years. At least 10 years. This is a generation of games that I don't really invest in. I don't really play and don't really try and collect for. But this is a game, the Castlevania game, that actually Jamie Owls had played to completion before I had even touched it. And even though story-wise, this apparently is its own universe or something, starring Gabriel Belmont as a sort of like prequel to the entirety of the Castlevania series, still, it's great to own a new Castlevania game and a new PS3 game. I couldn't miss this. Couldn't miss picking this one up. Also, for the PS3, you're going to think I'm a little crazy, the Silent Hill HD collection. And I'm going to say you're going to think I'm crazy because I don't like horror games. And Silent Hill 2 is part of this. This includes Silent Hill 2 and 3. And 2 is being remade and released, I think, this year by the Bloober team. So why pick this up? Because I just think this is a cool collection to have, and this was a great sale too, because it's unopened, it's brand new, and I just couldn't beat picking this guy up here. And this is gonna, well, I don't know, if you've been following my channel here, if you've clicked like, if you've subscribed and ring that bell, you would know that I tend to avoid games like these. And I've never owned this. Red Dead Redemption 2. What? I've never owned this before. I never played the first Red Dead Redemption, nor Red Dead Revolver, the game that preceded that. I've heard nothing but great things for Red Dead Redemption 2. So I really snagged this on a really good deal. Again, brand new. I couldn't miss this, and I have to let's make sure we pick that up and own it in case I ever actually want to try this game and everything. If you think this is good, let me know in the comments section. Speaking of good games, we've got the BioShock collection, and this is just BioShock 1 and 2. This is another one that I got oh no, I'm actually wrong. I'm incorrect. This is not just BioShock 1 and 2. I'm looking at this, and it's BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite. So it's the trilogy. So that's cool for me. I'm kind of surprised by that. So it's all three of the BioShock games for the PS4. Now, I already own these digitally, and I didn't really have a good job getting into the first one, which is really weird because I loved Metroid Prime, and this is kind of like that with a mix of more a first-person shooter with a really unique aesthetic. And I love the plot twists in my games, and this apparently has got a number of them. So hopefully I'll be able to get back into this and play through them, because BioShock, I've heard, man, they are fan-frickin-tastic games. Also, and finishing up the non-Switch titles is Shenmue 1 and 2. I've never played any of the Shenmue games because I've never owned a Dreamcast. These games I've heard really haven't aged as well, but they are classics. I've heard that they are fantastic, especially I think the first one is known to be really, really good. Of course, there was a third one that released like about 18 years after the second one, and I heard that one was kind of a dud. Maybe I'll try and pick that up if I see it online somewhere, just to have the trilogy. But I wanted to make sure to pick this up. This was another one I was able to pick up new on the cheap. Really glad to be able to physically own these though, because again, I want to try and make sure my PS4 collection, my PS5 collection, Switch collection, I want to make sure I'm supporting these physical games, because that's the only way with that we can guarantee actually owning them should, the EMP hits and fries the whole internet infrastructure. Or the reality is, of course, you don't own digital games. What did the Ubisoft CEO say? Something about they're just long-term rentals. This way, I own this. I physically have it. So, and I'm definitely glad to do so. So we're going to get into the Switch games for September. So those were the non-Switch games for September. And I think that was as many games as I picked up for August. And August was just Switch games. So, and it starts off with the Capcom Fighting Collection. And this is really just a collection of some general arcade fighters like Night Warriors, Cyberbots, Puzzle Fighter 2. This feels like my Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo cabinet that I got from Arcade 1-Up, but just all the other fighters that it sort of contains in there. And really cool to be able to pick this up. I definitely pre-ordered the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, as well as Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. And of course, I'm going to be getting the ESRB, the North American copy, so that it actually has a cart, not a code. Sorry, my European friends. But glad to be able to have a physical copy of this. The next Switch game, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. Now, I've mentioned this before. I'm not a huge fan of this. I've quit this before for a number of reasons. I've got a future video coming out sort of talking about this, as well as a couple of other games that I ended up quitting. But this game is really perfect for the Switch. Just that sort of handheld vibe, and where you can just kind of play as you wish, and then be able to put it away and not have to worry about it and or take it on the go. Because it's got that also really super cute Studio Ghibli style of art and everything. And this was another one I was able to pick up on sale. I've heard the first Ni no Kuni, that the remaster was a really good entry. I'm probably going to try and see if I can pick that up on the Switch when that goes on sale. Next up is Omari. And this is another one of those indie games where I guess this was based off of some sort of like a webcomic or something like that, but it's like sort of a not a light world, dark world thing, but like a real world, fantasy world, sort of a really deep storyline telling, where it's like an adventure / turn-based RPG. The premise of it, and I've heard the story on this, is absolutely fantastic. So it's definitely something that really is right up my alley for those sort of deep indie stories. Definitely excited to check that one out. Next up, we've got the Fight and Rage. This was something that 90s Handheld Gamer had recommended on one of his videos, so I'd absolutely recommend checking out his content, because he specializes on some really great Switch games. I'm following his recommendation because I've heard this is a fun sort of beat 'em up game, literally in the style of the 80s and 90s beat 'em ups, like Final Fight and Streets of Rage, what have you. So with that said, I'm looking forward to check this out. I'm looking forward to playing this here. Hopefully it's got the really kicking soundtrack that a lot of these games, especially Streets of Rage, have. So that'll be fun, and I think this is also another one of those indie games, I think. Next up is AI, the Somnium Files. This is the Nirvana initiative, and I believe this is like an adventure visual novel sort of a game. This was recommended by my buddy Run. He is trying to get the non-Nirvana initiative version of this, so hopefully he's able to find a copy of that. I don't know. I think it's probably because it's been out for a while. Maybe they've stopped production. But figured this would be a cool game to be able to own. I'm not a huge fan of like the sci-fi stuff, but if it sort of speaks to me, then I can get into it. Which is funny, I say I'm not a fan of sci-fi stuff, yet I love Metroid. Though, of course, I'm not a fan of horror games. And again, I love Metroid as well as Castlevania. So, but with this will be a fun one to see. And only got a couple more left. And we've got Contra, Operation Galuga. This is something that I am just going to own this on physical. I don't plan on playing it on the Switch. I plan on playing this on the PS5 because of the fact that, like, I've heard this doesn't run the greatest on the Switch. I just want a physical copy again to preserve it, but I'll probably play digitally on the PS5. I played the demo, fell in love with the demo. I loved watching Feral Inferno's gameplay of this. Again, can't recommend his gameplays enough. I'll make sure to have links in the description below for both Feral Inferno and 90s Handheld Gamers channels. But yeah, this was really a great return to form to classic Contra games. It's kind of like the likes of Contra 4 on the DS. So such a great relief to knowing how much, like, how awful some of the previous Contra efforts had been from Konami recently. So really loved my time with the demo and can't wait to play the real and full thing. My last Switch game is not really too exciting like the Cadence of Hyrule was. It is the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series, and so this contains the first and second Klonoa games that released on the PS1 and 2 respectively. I'd never heard of these until this was revealed on a Nintendo Direct, but I like the whole platforming aspect and the aesthetics, because the characters kind of look like Sonic the Hedgehog characters, but of course with that sort of more slower platforming style, almost kind of like a Rise Star, because I think you can like pick up the enemies and use them as platforms or something. Although I'm trying to remember in Rise Star if you could use enemies as platforms. I know you can pick them up, but this will be a cool, fun one to play with Jamie Owls, because I believe it's got 2-player co-op with this remake or remaster. So those are my pickups. I went nuts on my pickups for September. I did not mean to, but man, I ended up getting fantastic sales and deals from VGP.ca, because that's where the majority of the September pickups came from. So let me know in the comments section below what you think of these pickups. If you've got any cool ones to let me know of, I'd love to start a dialogue with you guys. But thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.